Hey, welcome back guys. This is Nabi Senji here with another controller for you, and I actually have a quick question for you guys. Have you guys ever experienced Joy-Con drift on any of your controllers? Well, here I am to let you guys know that Joy-Con drift will come for all controllers. That means that this Xbox Series X controller with a custom shell and side grips that does trigger stoppers will experience Joy-Con drift eventually. This DualSense controller, that $70 DualSense controller with a custom shell that is beautiful, mind you, will eventually experience Joy-Con drift, and there is nothing I can do about it. So Joy-Con drift has been a big issue for a lot of controllers, especially on the Nintendo Switch side with their Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons. But what if I told you there was a company that is out there that decided, like, hey, you know what? We're going to make a controller that cannot get Joy-Con drift. So without further ado, this is going to be an unboxing and review of the Gulikit King Kong 2 Pro controller. Enjoy. So this is going to be an unboxing. As you can see, it has a little sign in here. It says enjoy gamers, and a bunch of stuff on the back about some little bit of information. It talks about the biggest thing about this controller, that has electronic Joy-Con sticks, which is actually apparently what they claim, that these sticks can never get Joy-Con drift, which is actually a really good thing. And they also have a new patent technology for their button, so it's kind of like a mechanical button, but it's not necessarily. Just their it's like a hybrid mechanical button, and also these really smooth sticks, and also has magnetic triggers. So if you guys probably don't know, in the past, like, anyone who gets a controller, they usually have like Joy-Con drift, and Joy-Con drift usually comes for everyone. So this company, Gulikit, has made this controller that they said that cannot get Joy-Con drift. And if I can get this box open, that'll be, oh, I can't get the box open because of course I need my scissors. All right, so here we go. Opening the box of the controller. Let's see what's inside. So nothing in the box, and looks like you got this plastic case, which is interesting. So wow, plastic case, you can pop this open, and here is the controller. I have to say, I like this a lot actually, because now I can keep this case, and if I ever want to take this controller on the go, I can just put it back in the case. So that's actually some really smart packaging. I really do appreciate that. So this is the controller itself, and oh, this actually feels really nice. It has like a nice grip to it. The texture of this controller is like, it's kind of like a mixture of like a slight, it's like a really smooth on top, but then like a rubberized grip on the bottom half of it. So this actually feels really nice. The sticks actually feel really nice, and I'm pretty sure like most people are going to compare this to, I'm gonna compare this to my Xbox Series X controller. This controller actually is slightly, it's like slightly smaller than my Xbox Series X controller, because when I hold this feels good, and holding this, yeah, I'll safe to say that the shell is slightly smaller. That this is slightly smaller than my Xbox Series X controller. Also, it looks like it has a normal D-pad, and this controller is for the Switch and PC, so which is why it has the BAYX layout. But this controller, you can actually connect this wired or wirelessly to your PC, and you can set this into Windows mode, so it will be seen as an Xbox controller. So you can use this for all games. So actually, let's go see what's inside the rest of this box. All right, so inside this box, pretty sure that this is a cable. Yep. Oh, it's a nice little flat cable too. So it's USB. Is this USB-C? Yep. USB-C. All right, so we got a USB-C cable. That's actually really good. I like that. So use USB-C cable to connect and charge. And what else is in here? Actually, before I get further into this controller. So it looks like this is a sticker, Gulikit sticker. I'll probably slap this on my computer. Looks like a little handbook, and on the back of it, it shows you all this stuff. There's some accessories that you can get for our Nintendo Switch. Also, looks like this is the biggest thing. So I know if you guys can't really see it, but these are supposed to be magnetic joysticks. So the thing about the magnetic joysticks is they actually measures the amount of current using magnets based off of directions of the joysticks, rather than the old like generic joysticks that actually like had these pads that rub against, and then over time those pads wear down, which eventually causes joystick drift. And it comes for every controller. There is no controller that's not going to experience Joy-Con drift eventually. That includes the DualSense controller, that includes the Xbox controllers, that includes the majority of Nintendo Switch controllers. And this company's actually have designed magnetic joysticks that they claim that does not have Joy-Con drift. And we're going to be using the Gamepad tester to test that out. So, and just a bunch of other accessories that they can show off. And this actually is a pamphlet. So yes, when you get this product, you will be able to use an online gamepad tester and debugger yourself to actually test this gamepad, which is actually really cool. And it looks like there's a bunch of another set of buttons telling you how to do motion aim assist. You can set this up for no dead zone mode. So if you want truly no dead zones, you can change the ZL and ZR / left trigger and right trigger sensitivity, which is actually really nice. And you can change the sensitivity on the 6. So yeah, let's get into it. But I have to say, like, this controller actually feels like lighter than my Xbox Series controller, but I do really like it though. And also another thing too is that the triggers are actually magnetic too, and I can immediately notice because it's like the triggers, when you hold it down, it's so smooth, like really a smooth push. So this is actually a really nice controller. The D-pad is actually a really good D-pad. So it's not the Series X D-pad where it's like the circular one. Me personally, I actually prefer D-pads like this in general, but that's just me personally. And I will say the button layouts, they do feel nice. I do like the way how the buttons feel. So it's like a halfway, it's kind of mechanical key, but it's not a mechanical key. So it's not as loud, but it actually has a strong feel to it. And of course you get the plus and minus because it is a switch, a home button. Looks like you get a share button. This is one of your setting buttons, and this is your macro button. So if you actually want to set up a macro, you actually hold this button down, the controller start blinking, and then you can record up to 10 minutes worth of like button macros and then place it, and then you can play it to do macros. But yeah, overall this controller feels nice. So actually, I think we got to go. Let's go back to the gamepad tester because I actually want to test out the joysticks to see these magnetic joysticks and see like what's the big deal about these, if these are truly really accurate joysticks. So let's move over to the gamepad. Okay, so I went on the website with the gamepad-tester.com, and you can actually go on this website to test out any of your joysticks, to test out the button inputs and the joystick accuracy. So when I did the test, the first thing I did was the King Kong 2 Pro controller. And I have to say, like, these sticks are definitely the most accurate sticks I've ever seen. So going through in the test where you have to slowly rotate both sticks, the King Kong Pro 2 controller had a 0.6% error rate, which is crazy. That means that these are literally the most accurate joysticks. Compared to the Xbox Series X controller and my DualSense controller, those had error rate around like between 6 and 7% error rate. And that's usually the average error rate for majority of controllers. And then even for, just to do this for fun, I decided to do a Joy-Con test on my $20 Ifio 1 Pro controller that I reviewed. And that controller had a 20 to 25% error rate. That is insane. And if you ever want to know, the error rates is usually coming by like areas on when you move your joysticks where the joystick, where it won't register like the movement in games and stuff. So yeah, that just shows you why you don't want to get cheap controllers and you want to spend money on controllers. But the fact that the King Kong Pro 2 controller has a 0.6 error rate compared to my DualSense and my Xbox Series X controller that had around a 6 or 7% error rate, I can easily say that these controllers are the most accurate joysticks I have ever used. Okay, so I'm gonna do something a little bit different for this controller. So I'm not gonna go through like a bunch of games using this controller and such genre of games, because basically this controller is honestly feels like a lighter version of the Xbox One controller with a way better grip. What I am going to talk about is some of the features of this controller. So if you haven't noticed, the controller is compatible with PC, Android, iOS, and the Nintendo Switch. And one of the coolest things about this is that you can actually switch between like PC mode and Nintendo Switch modes, and it actually will save the settings for what device it was synced to on that certain mode. And also, if you haven't noticed, on the controller there is like a gear wheel at the middle of the controller. So this controller doesn't come with any software, but with a combination of pressing the gear wheel and any of the other buttons, you will actually activate one of the many features that this controller has. And I have to say, like, it is a lot. Like, this controller has all these different button combinations, and this is probably the first controller that I will say you need to keep the pamphlet to know all these button combinations. So without further ado, let's actually get into some of these button combinations. Okay, so I'm just going to read off some, like, all of the button combinations for you to know how to program this controller, because this controller doesn't come with any software. So like I said before, you're going to have to keep the pamphlet, and I may show some of them in the video, but I'm not going to show all of them because I have to hurry up and get this video out. So I'm just going to read off the pamphlet, and you get to see all the button combinations and see all the settings and mode changes that you can do. So the first thing I want to talk about is the motion sense aim assist on PC. So as you know, this controller does work on Nintendo Switch and has gyro controls, but you can enable it on the PC. So basically, what this does is this will allow you to say, for instance, if you're playing like a first-person shooter and you hold the aim button, you will be able to move the controller around to actually aim and fire, which is a pretty interesting feature. I'm gonna be honest with you, I will not use it. Usually that could be controlled with the gear wheel plus L and plus ZL or left trigger. You can clear all settings, so just in case if you ever do any programming and you don't like none of the settings, you can hit the gear wheel and the minus button. That will clear all the settings. The no dead zone modes, and this is going to be my favorite mode. This is what I keep on at all times. It's going to be the gear wheel and the share button. You also can change the sensitivity of the ZLZR, which is left trigger / right trigger, with the gear wheel, with the left on the D-pad and right on the D-pad. And what this basically does is it basically increases sensitivity by 600%, so it's no longer like a analog trigger. It's basically just the input at this point. So stick sensitivity settings. So yes, you can actually control the sensitivity settings of the sticks. So if you click the gear wheel in R3 or L3, 1 vibration is 50%, 2 vibrations will be 100%, and 3 vibrations will be 150%. And I will have to say, like, usually like around 150%, like, apparently the controller has like an extremely high error rate, but I mean, hey, it's whatever. You also have professional player mode. I don't know what is professional player mode or what's the purpose of it, to be honest with you. You have repeated shooting mode. So basically this is turbo mode. I don't know why they call it repeater shooting mode. Basically you just hold the gear wheel, you press A, B, X, Y, R, or ZR. And basically this will allow it to input to shoot for 20 times per second. You can control the vibration settings with the gear wheel and pressing up and down on the D-pad. And you also have autopilot mode, or what's just called APG button. So this is actually a unique feature of this controller. So you can actually record up to 10 minutes of inputs on this controller and then save it. And then with one click of a button, you will do all those inputs again. Now, I'm not sure what you use this feature for, and I really don't understand why you need 10 minutes to record all your button inputs and to make it into a macro. So you push one button and all of a sudden you do all these controller inputs that you record. 10 minutes is excessive, and I don't know what you need it for, but if somebody knows what you can use 10 minutes of recording for, please let me know, because I surely don't. And also, last but not least, you also have the gear wheel and the share button. This will actually allow you to save or share your autopilot modes, and you can basically pull it out of your controller at like a USB file and put it into like another King Kong 2 Pro controller. I'm not sure why you want to do that, but hey, the feature is there, man. That's usually all the button that's all the button combinations for this controller and all the settings that you can control. Okay, so after going through like all the features of this controller, I have to say, like, the King Kong Pro 2 controller, because it feels like basically like an Xbox One controller but lighter, I usually would give this controller like a solid 8 out of 10 because it's pretty much a really decent controller. I'm actually going to give this controller a 9 out of 10 because of The fact that we have these magnetic Joy-Cons, and the magnetic Joy-Cons don't really have like parts rubbing against each other like regular Joy-Cons do. So the chances for this controller to get Joy-Con drift is significantly less compared to my DualSense controller or my Xbox Series X controller. And honestly, I have to say, if you are a PC player and you're looking for a controller, get this controller first. If you are a Nintendo Switch person and you're looking for like a pro controller or a controller, get this controller first before you get anything else, especially if you have a Nintendo Switch, because I don't have to remind you with all the stuff that Nintendo's going through. King Kong 2 Pro controller, I will give this controller a 9 out of 10 just because it has magnetic Joy-Cons that are the most accurate joysticks, but are significantly less likely to get Joy-Con drift due to the nature and the build of these joysticks. And I'm actually really happy that a company has finally came out and made joysticks that cannot get joystick drift. Okay guys, that is it for this video. If you made it this far in the video and you like this video, just remember to hit that like button, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to let you guys know the next time whenever I decide to do like a random live stream, or if I post any more content. I'm definitely have like a list of controllers I want to review that most people probably have never heard of, which is why I want to review the controllers. And also I might get into other like tech. Like I was thinking about my next video, I already have something planned that I think you guys will enjoy. But until then, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.